All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to our workshop on today. Just to let you all know, just a few housekeeping rules. Please keep your audio on mute. This is a recorded event. Also, we will be taking questions for this event. However, we will be taking those questions at the end of all the presenters. So at the end, we will be taking those questions. So I'm gonna have you do this for me. If you would, when you have a question in the chat, please put question and then write out your question. And that will let us know that you have a question and we want to make sure that you get that answered today. So we are going to get started. All right. So like I said, welcome to 360 Road to Home Ownership series. The Housing and Community Development Department is working to better equip our community to navigate the complicated home buying process. In this workshop, you will learn the importance of building a solid team of business professionals who will work on your road to home ownership. Like I stated, our title is 360 Road to Home Ownership. That means that we want to cover everything that you should expect during this process. We will have 4 workshops in this series. The first one was Credit 101 Quick Stop. Today, which you are here for, is going to be one way to building the perfect team. On next month, we will have workshop number 3, Road Rules, What to Expect. You don't want to miss that one. And the last one is Housing Tune-ups, Maintenance and Care After Home Ownership. You can see these dates on our website. So please, if you want to attend, please register after this event. Go and register for those workshops. So we are going to go ahead and get started. Just to tell you our agenda for today, first we will have the introduction of our director and the outreach staff. Then we will have a mini commercial for our fair housing hotline. And then we will have introduction of guest speakers, our upcoming events to make sure that you do not miss anything. And then we will have our final remarks. I hope you're ready. I hope your pens are hot and your paper is cool, so you are ready to get started. So now we will have Mr. Pedro come with the introduction of our director and outreach staff.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us today. Our director is Thomas Classman. He's the director of our housing department. And our staff we have an outreach team. Onika Porter is our administrative manager. And Latasha Smith, you just heard her. She's a community involvement coordinator. Myself, Pedro Sosa, community liaison. We also have Becky Benitez, community liaison, and Deja Jones, community liaison. And we welcome everyone tonight.
The Fair Housing Act prohibits housing discrimination based on race, color, national origin, religion, sex, disability, and familiar status. If a landlord refuses to rent to you because of your service animal, the language you speak, or the color of your skin, you may have been a victim of housing discrimination. If you feel that you have been discriminated against, call the Department of Housing and Urban Development at 1-800-669-0777. Want to learn more about fair housing rights? Call the Fair Housing Hotline at 832-394-6240.
Do I start now?
Yes.
All right. Well, I'm Earl Nolan. I'm Realtor with Janeburg Properties International, LLC. Been in the real estate business since 2015. And I want to tell you guys a little bit about the realtor side of the business. What is the realtor going to do for you? So the realtor's purpose is to pretty much help you guys to get your dream home and educate you guys about the market, and to work in your interest first is the main thing. To make your process easier, because it's a lot going on in this home buying process, and maybe a lot of programs, a lot of situations that you guys are not typically used to. Next slide. All right, roles of a realtor. It's a journey. So from start to finish, a realtor, I want to be there from start to finish, all the way through. I say hi to you on the phone, or even in this presentation here, all the way to the closing table, even more so after that, to help all your family's friends as well. So anything throughout the whole process, it's the realtor job to know what's going on. But really the first step of the whole realtor process is the realtor needs to assess your situation before he sends you off to the lender or even a bank to get you pre-qualified for a home. And with that, I will go over all your income, your credit scores, any debt you may have. It's just assessing you to see if you're a good fit. Is it going to work right now? Is it not going to work right now? Because there's a lot of situations like the DTI, which is debt to income ratio. Like you only can have so much debt to qualify for certain loans, and also income. Income is also a factor to where you can only qualify for certain programs. From there, and then we're going to go to. So after I assess you, I'm going to connect you with a responsive lender. And from the lender, they will pretty much get you pre-qualified, which will be the next step, pre-approved. Once you're pre-qualified, that means you are okay to go start looking at houses. Pretty much anybody can go look at houses at any time, but you're really doing the whole process backwards if you're looking at a house before you're pre-approved, because at that point you may be looking at a house that is over your budget, and you may be looking at a house that's way under your budget, and you could pay for more. Also, your realtor should be able to tell you, once you tell him how much you want to pay monthly, he can break it down and say roughly how much that house would cost for you to get into those situations. And researching suitable properties, just like I said, once you tell a realtor you want to pay $1,500, so that's roughly around $190,000 to $200,000 house. So the realtor should be educating you along the way. And once you're pre-approved, your realtor should be taking you out to go start viewing properties. That's where my real job starts, because all in all, anything before this, I'm pretty much pretending to be a lender, in which I'm not a lender, I'm a realtor. I don't know any, I know, but I don't have to, that's not my profession, it's being a lender. But I start taking a look at houses. The realtor job really is to guide you along the way, make sure the process is smooth, it's not a headache, and to open doors, which, this is where my real job starts, taking you out to start showing houses. And then once we find a house you like, we will make offers, and it'll be my next job to negotiate and get the house at the best price I can get, that we can get for you, and negotiate on your behalf. And providing advice all throughout the process. You're going to ask me a million questions, whether I think this is a good deal. Do I think the AC works? You'll ask me a lot of questions, which I will get into. The next is I'll be connecting you with an inspector after we get the house under contract. And once we get the house under contract, we're going to get the house inspected, and then we can ask the owner or the seller for repairs on the items that we find are defective. And from there, we can renegotiate the price. We can get that money in closing costs, or so on. And other roles, as far as otherwise from, as I said, listing properties, otherwise from just on the buying side of things, if you currently own a home, I can list your home to sell your home. And my roles continue throughout being a realtor, because I'm also your counselor. Like I said, you're going to ask me a lot of questions. I'll become your friend. You're going to be telling me all kind of personal things. You're going to tell me your dreams and your aspirations, what you want, and much more. Like I'm a lender, inspector, realtor. It's all the above, because I'm gonna be the one where anything goes wrong, you're gonna be looking at me, because I'm the one who got you started. I told you it was okay to get started. And that's about the main gist of a role of a realtor. And here goes my information if you have any questions.
No questions so far.
Okay, so I am going to show you my presentation. So can everyone see it? Hello?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, so my name is Tania Vasquez. I work with Independent Financial, and I am a mortgage loan originator. And here are the steps that we are going to follow. So basically, when I receive a client from the realtor and they want to start the application, these are the steps that we're going to follow. So basically, they're going to choose the lender they're going to use. They're going to fill out an application, provide the income and assets. We're going to discuss what is the price range for them. And that it depends how much they can pre-qualify for, how much house they can buy. And then they're going to be able to start looking at their homes and then closing. And obviously after closing, they're homeowners. So let's start. So once they come to me and they start working with me, filling out the application, I'm going to request the tax returns, bank statements. We're going to check their credit, and we're going to check what are the rates, what are the programs that best fit for each individual. So we're going to discuss the down payment and loan options depending how much income they have, their credit. So we have conventional loans that started with 3% down if they qualify. We have a conventional loan. There's a lot of people out there, they think conventional loans are only with 20% down, which is not true. The lowest one is 3% down. The 0% down is for VA loans or USDA loans. And we also provide down payment assistance programs for those who qualify for two. So we're going to review your credit history, your FICO scores. Depending on your FICO score also will depend on the type of program that you are going to get. The FICO scores, depending what lender you choose. For instance, our minimum requirement on FICO score for FHA is 600. So some others, they do allow 580. So depending on what lender you use, it will depend the FICO score as well. And so we're gonna look at the number of accounts that you have open, if you have any lates on the past 12 months, and if you have collections in the past 12 months as well, we're gonna look into it and see what program best fit you based on your credit and your income. And it is important once you start the process to purchase a house, it's better not to keep going to different lenders. I'm not saying not to shop around, but just for instance, if you decide to shop around, just try to do it within the next 30 days and not that many, because eventually your FICO score is gonna drop. Okay, your employment history. Minimum, it is 2 years on the same line of work. And I have this, a lot of people, they ask me because on the pandemic, a lot of people that were working with the company and then they were receiving W-2s and then they went to 1099s. So when that happened, we actually can work with borrowers switching from W-2s to 1099. It has to be, if they started being 1099, we have to have 2 years completed tax returns with 1099s because they cannot go from W-2 to 1099. We can go the other way around, but not from W-2 to 1099. So that is important. And the income and the debt income ratio, it will depend what program. For instance, the FHA, we can go higher than the conventional loan. That's why a lot of people, they do qualify more for FHA rather than conventionals. And that will also will depend on the salary or commission that you receive. For instance, if you receive salary based on the last 2 years of history that you have, it is obviously salary, it will be always be better because it is more stable. And commissions are, if you are receiving commission, you will have to be receiving commission for the past 2 years in order for us to count it and be able to use it. And I know a lot of people, they also have full-time jobs and part-time jobs. So if they want to use both incomes, we can use the full-time, even if they started like 6 months ago, but not the part-time. Part-time jobs will be considered if you have 2 years, full 2 years with the same company, not different companies, but it has to be with the same company. And we also gonna look at your tax returns. Depending on the tax returns, what do you have? For instance, if you're receiving commission for the past 2 years, we're going to request the tax returns. But if you are only salary or getting pay per hour, we can only use the W-2s. So that is also important to know. So on the debts, on your pay stubs, and your tax returns as well, because sometimes depending on if you're 1099 or W-2, but for people, they do receive pay stubs and they pay child support, we are going to request the history or the child support decree reflecting how much you're supposed to pay, because I know that sometimes on the pay stub shows that amount, but it not necessarily have to be that amount. So we can go based on the child support decree amount if you pay alimony. So that will also help us to determine based on the divorce decree, because those paperwork, that to have it up front is better, because that way we can calculate those deductions since the very beginning. So that way down the road, we don't have any problems. The other thing is, when you are paying a auto and it shows on your credit report, it is different. For instance, if you are purchasing that car note to be owned and versus to lease it. If you have a car note, so can somebody mute? I don't know. I can see who is it. Okay. So if somebody owns a car and is paying and it has less than 10 payments left, depending on the program, if it is an FHA loan, we can omit the debt if it's 5% or less of your monthly payment, and if you have 10 payments left. But if it's on a conventional loan, it doesn't matter if it has more than 5% of your salary or your monthly income. If you have 10 payments left on that car note, we can omit that debt, but not if it's a lease. If it's a lease, we cannot omit even if you have 10 payments left. So that is, and the student loans, it will also depend on if it's an FHA loan, that will take a different percentage than the conventional loan. And that will be included on your part of the liabilities, because the student loans are also liabilities. Even if it shows on your credit report that is deferred until, I don't know, maybe June 23, 2022, it doesn't matter. We're still gonna use it. And it is important that when we request bank statements, I know a lot of people, they do save money sometimes and they have it in cash. And we do need to see that money on your bank statements, at least to have it 30 to 60 days, because it is important for us to determine how much money you have. And if you're gonna use money from your 401k or RIA, you can use it as well, but you're gonna show the last quarter statement and the terms and withdrawal of that retirement account as well. Okay. Questions? If you have any questions, let me know.
Hello, I'm Gwen, and I was wondering, after this presentation, will we be able to get this recording or the PowerPoint that you're doing?
They say yes. Latasha, can you confirm?
Yes, you'll be able to get it.
Oh, wonderful. You're going to email it to us?
You could just request it and we'll get it out to you.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you, Tanya.
Thank you.
And Tanya, we do have 2 questions.
Okay.
One is, the question is, for a married couple, do both have to have 2 years with the same employer?
No, they don't have to have the same employer for the past 2 years. They can change companies, but it has to be on the same field.
Okay. And the next question is, how do you determine income for self-employment, non-1099 individuals?
So what type of self-employment we're talking about then? If it's not 1099, it's a corporation? Or is
So she's a barber. So she does like cash transaction, card transactions, as opposed to like a gig worker, I guess.
okay, if they do, for instance, there's particular loans that we have, but that's more in portfolio loans, and that is based on the bank statements, depending how much, I don't know how many years she's been having that business. If she receives or he receives cash and deposit into the business account, we can use those bank statements as well. It depends if it can be the last 24 or last 12 months bank statements.
Got it. Thank you.
But the down payment and the interest rate for those particular loans are different than the standard FHA conventional VA USDA loans. And I know that a lot of people think that those programs out there with bank statements for people that they're not using the tax returns for income calculations. I know there's a lot of people out there, they think it's going to be the same rate and it's going to be the same down payment and they still can qualify for the down payment assistance program. But that is actually a different type of loan.
Okay. With the new changes to the FHA and student loans, if I already have pre-approval, can I have the DTI reevaluated without another credit pull?
What do you mean exactly? Like, so you already have a pre-approval, but what is that? So if they give you a pre-approval, what are you trying to do with the pre-approval that you have right now?
So I've been, I guess, reading that I guess they've made updates to like the requirements for student loans compared to FHA, where they'll use like the 0.5% versus 1% of the
on the conventional. So yeah, on the conventional, most likely they're gonna go with 1% versus the FHA that they're gonna use 5%. But that will depend also if you
the amount that you pay for your student loan debt. So if you call in and get a payment plan for $50 right now, they've loosened the 1% restrictions. you can get your home purchased or get your pre-approval letter with that 1% if student loans is stopping you from purchasing a home.
No, it doesn't. It just depends what program you're using. If it's a conventional, it differs than an FHA loan. The guidelines change with each loan, and then depending on what the underwriter requests, because sometimes the student loans payments reflect on your credit report, so they can consider that into as a liability instead of using the letter that you received. So it depends.
Okay.
I have a question really quickly. What are the income requirements? Like, what sort of income are they looking for when you fill out the paperwork?
Well, there's not an income requirement. It's just based, we're going to do the pre-qualification based on how much your income is and your debt. So that's why the debt to income ratio is important. So depending if you're using a FHA loan, it's going to be a little bit higher than the conventional loan. So if you have, depending if you're married, for instance, and if you're going to purchase the house with your husband, then we're going to run the credit for both. Even if he's not on the loan, we're going to still run his credit and add the liabilities on the application, even though he's not going to be on the loan.
Wow, I didn't know that.
That is for FHA
Do you
loan,
have to
yes.
report that you married when you fill out an FHA loan?
I'm sorry, what was your question again?
Do you have to report that you're married?
If you're legally married, it will probably will reflect on your tax returns, pay stubs, information that it's based on the, I don't know. Yeah, tax returns, pay stubs, that's what I'm thinking. Or W-2s, I guess. It also shows there. So it is public.
Hey, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Could you
Yes,
tell
go
us
ahead.
the programs that the lower income people can apply for, knowing that they probably have a chance to get approved? Or the programs that you guys are telling us to go for, we just have to look into that ourselves and just take the risk on if they get approved for the program.
Yeah, because the programs are very standard. Like, for instance, we have, it's cross-board. We have FHA, BA, conventional, USDA. Those programs are very standard. With it depends what the person, depending on the income and depending on the liabilities they have. That's what is important to look at the different programs. If they qualify for both, maybe there's a lot of people out there, they qualify for FHA conventional. So it will depend also what is a better option for them, because a lot of people, sometimes they do think FHA is better than the conventional loan. Why? Because, for instance, I'm going to give you an example with the down payment assistance programs. So right now, since we have lower interest rates as well with everyone, you know, with the conventional and FHA, but with the down payment assistance programs rates, the conventional rates are a little bit higher than the FHA. So a lot of people choose to use the FHA down payment assistance program, even though they can qualify for the conventional as well. So that will depend on them, which program they like and they want to move forward with.
Okay, so my next question is, what is the highest on the income? And what's the highest amount that a person can make to know for sure that, hey, they have a chance to get approved?
Well, I don't think that's that's a set amount of income that we need to see in order to determine how much house they can buy. Like I said, that will depend income and debt, because I can tell you, well, they can make, I don't know, $1 million, and then what if they have a lot of debt as well? So that depends on each borrower, each loan is different. And it's better to ask, you know, and I think a lot of people, they think that it's not good just to fill out an application just to find out what do you need to start working on. If you need to start working on your credit, if you need to start, like, for instance, making wait a little bit more because you only have 1 year working as a 1099, you need to start from somewhere in order to find out if you're ready to buy or not.
I appreciate that.
Tasha.
Yeah, sure.
Tasha, you may have already covered this. I came on a few minutes late, but what is the minimum credit score that would allow one to qualify for an FHA loan?
Well, on my company, on Independent Financial, we have it with 600 FICO score. Now, there's a lot of lenders still out there, they use 580. But I'm just gonna let you know this, if you have less than 600, whenever we run DU or LP, which are the two systems that we use to run the income and liabilities, to be more comfortable, see if the person qualifies for the house. Sometimes if it's less than 600, it will require to have put 10% down payment for an FHA loan. Just an FYI.
Okay, just a quick question. Just a statement. Please keep your audio on mute because there is feedback. Also, if we're going to continue. I know Ms. Vasquez, she probably can answer questions all day, but we want your questions, but we want to be in order. So if you would, please put all questions in the chat. When we finish, we will definitely get to your question. Okay, so we're going to move on to the end. I know you have questions and answers on your presentation, but we're going to go to the next presenter and then we will finish all questions. Okay. Thank you.
And now we have our next presenter, Mr. Ruben Saltzman, Home Inspector and Instructor, Structure Tech.
Hi, I'm Ruben Saltzman with Structure Tech Home Inspections, and today's topic is home inspections for first-time home buyers. So my goal today is to give some information to first-time home buyers all about what a home inspection consists of. A home inspection is an objective visual examination of the physical structure and systems of a house from the roof to the foundation. So what exactly does that mean? Objective means that the home inspector is unbiased. They work only for their client. They don't pay any money to a real estate agent for referrals. They don't get kickbacks from a real estate agent for making their report soft by kind of making a small deal out of potentially big hazards. And whether a home sells or not, the home inspector still gets paid. By visual, well, that is the minimum standard. It's kind of an old standard for home inspections, but it's been around for a long time. And what it truly means is that your home inspector is not required to use any special tools. They don't need to use electrical testers and carbon monoxide devices. We're not required to use infrared cameras. We don't need to use anything like that. It's just purely visual. Now, I don't know a single home inspector who still does a purely visual inspection. We all have tools. Home inspectors love talking tools. So that's kind of an old standard, but it is the minimum. A home inspection is also an education. If you can be there during the inspection, as a first-time home buyer, this is a fantastic learning opportunity. You get to learn all about the home. The way it works, when you buy a vehicle, you get this owner's manual. I mean, it's super thick. You buy a washing machine, and you get a huge owner's manual telling you how to operate it and all this stuff. You get nothing like that for a home in general. So if you can be there during the home inspection, you get to learn a lot of information about the house. I highly recommend attending your home inspection if you have the time. The next topic is what gets reported on during a home inspection. There's 4 basic things that home inspectors report on. It's going to be installation issues, things that just were not put in properly, maintenance items, things that need to be serviced, things that are at the end of their life, things that might leak. Those I would all consider maintenance items. Safety issues. A lot of the time it's going to be safety upgrades. Sometimes it's things just weren't done properly and it turns into a safety issue, but home inspectors are big on safety. And also performance. Now, one thing that I didn't put on this list is code errors. Now, your home inspector is not there to do a code compliance inspection. So it's an important distinction. The next part of this is timing. When should the home inspection be done? I'm a Minnesota home inspector. Here in Minnesota, there are no rules about when the home inspection needs to happen. It's whatever your real estate agent puts in the purchase agreement. And for most transactions that I'm involved in, people are given 10 days to get the home inspection done. You write it up in your purchase agreement. You say that you are buying a home. It's going to be contingent upon the inspection, and you're going to get the inspection and any negotiations, everything done within 10 days. But it varies. It's whatever is in your contract. That clock starts ticking as soon as you have that signed purchase agreement. So once you get that signed, as a home buyer, it's a good idea to line up your home inspection right away. So the goal is to get the home inspection done quickly. And then after you get the home inspection, what happens next? What do you do with that information? Well, it all comes down to your agent. Your agent is the one who's going to help you get through all of this. And there's 4 basic things that can be done after the inspection. You can cancel the purchase. That's always the least fortunate option because you're out a bunch of money. You paid for the home inspection and you've invested a lot of your time into a home, but it is an option. People do have the right to cancel a purchase based on really anything that was found during the inspection. You don't even need to tell the seller why you're canceling. And I only mention that because I've been involved in transactions where buyers wanted to cancel the purchase before I even did the home inspection, and they were just using the inspection as a get out of contract free card. So you could cancel the purchase. Another option is to ask the seller to fix stuff. Now, that one gets messed up a lot because a lot of the time people aren't specific and they don't ask for what they want. And a lot of the time you're asking a seller to repair things that they have installed improperly the first time, but it is an option. Another one is to negotiate price, and that one's kind of tricky, but there's 2 common ways that you end up negotiating price on a purchase. One of them is to ask the seller to reduce the price of a home, and the other is to ask a seller to pay closing costs. It's kind of a way of transferring some costs over to a seller based on the inspection. And then option number 4, which is what ought to be done with maybe 95 to 98% of the stuff that comes up during a home inspection, is to do nothing. Understand that it's a used house you're buying. You don't need to negotiate everything in the home inspection. And you just understand that you're going to have some work to do once you've taken possession of the home. You are buying a used house. There is no expectation for this home to be perfect. It's okay to get a home inspection report with a lot of recommendations from the home inspector. That's what the home inspector is getting paid to do. It doesn't mean it's a bad house. And be prepared for that. If you hire a good home inspector, they're surely going to have a huge list of stuff that they recommend on every used home. It's okay. But as far as what you should do with the findings from the home inspection, whether you should ask the seller to fix stuff, take money off the price of the house, do nothing, it's a really good idea to talk to your real estate agent about this. This is what you are paying them for. This is how they're earning their commission. Don't ask your home inspector what you should do with the findings because we're not going to answer that question. That falls totally outside the realm of what we do. That is completely real estate negotiations. So ask your agent about all of that. So that's a lowdown on a home inspection. Now, there's other types of services that you may want to have done at the same time as the home inspection. And you may be able to get them done by your home inspector. Not all home inspection companies offer these types of things, but it's a good idea to talk to your inspector about it. Number one is going to be radon. Radon testing is huge in Minnesota. If you sign a purchase agreement on a home, you're going to have to read over this document. It's like a 2-page document that's put out by the Minnesota Department of Health explaining the hazards with radon. You should also talk to your home inspector about having a sewer inspection done. Now, I used to tell people it's a good idea to have a sewer inspection if you're buying an old home and you got old drain lines coming from the house to the street. But I've changed my tune over the years. I no longer tell people that. I tell people now it's a good idea to have a sewer inspection if you're buying a home. You know, I don't make any mention about the age of it. And that's because we partnered up with a sewer guy who has found so many problems on newer homes to the point where if I were buying really any age of home, I wouldn't consider buying it without a sewer inspection first. And a lot of home inspectors are at the point where they now offer that along with their home inspections. I don't know any home inspectors here in Minnesota who are actually doing the sewer inspections. A lot of them will just coordinate and get you a better price if you're working with their regular sewer guy. So it's something to think about. Another one is chimney inspections. If you're buying a home with a wood burning fireplace, with a masonry chimney, and you're planning to use it, it's a good idea to have a chimney inspection done. The NFPA, the National Fire Protection Agency, recommends having a level 2 chimney inspection done anytime you're buying a home. A level 2 means you got a specialist coming out there with a camera on the end of a pole. They got a fiber optic camera, a wireless camera, and they're going to scan the entire inside of that chimney flue to make sure that everything is safe and all the joints look good and that it's safe for a fire. So that's another thing to consider. Another thing to think about is a stucco inspection. If you're buying a newer stucco home, and when I say newer, I'm thinking maybe about 1990 and anything newer than that, buying a newer stucco home, it's a good idea to have a stucco inspection done. Now, this is intrusive. This involves putting holes in the stucco and having moisture probes stuck into there to figure out the condition of the sheathing or not. But if you have water intrusion on those, it can be extremely expensive. So buying a newer stucco home, it's a good idea to have a specialized stucco inspection. And if you have any special concerns about environmental hazards, such as asbestos, lead, formaldehyde, mold, things like that, talk to your home inspector about them. A lot of home inspectors are going to point that stuff out when they see it, but all of these different environmental hazards are specifically excluded from home inspection standards and practice. Home inspection SOPs are there to protect the home inspector. Now, they're written for consumers too. Don't get me wrong. It tries to make the home inspection profession a little bit more uniform. It lays out the standards of what home inspectors do, but really it does provide a lot of protection to the home inspector. So all of these environmental things are excluded from our standard of practice. So if you have concerns about those, talk to your home inspector about them. They will either talk you out of doing testing because they don't feel it's a concern, or they might offer that type of testing for an additional fee, or they might refer you to somebody who could do that testing for you. Lastly, how do you find a good home inspector? Well, there's a few different ways. Number one, if you trust your real estate agent, and I sure hope you do, ask your real estate agent who does a great job. Who's the best home inspector you know? Who does a fantastic inspection? A lot of agents will give you 3 names, and basically that's because they don't want to get sued. Someone has told them if you just give out 1 name, it doesn't look good, so you should always give out 3. So I know a lot of real estate agents will give you 3 names of home inspectors. If you'd like to research home inspectors yourself, my advice would be to go online and look for reviews. See who gets highly rated. Look for somebody with a lot of 5-star reviews. Something I enjoy doing too is I like to look at the 1-star reviews. I always go down, what's the worst reviews people got? Why did they get bad reviews? But most importantly, what did the owner have to say about these 1-star reviews? Was the owner just like firing back and, yeah, well, you're a jerk and I hate your ugly face and things like that? I wouldn't want to do business with those people. But if it sounds like a very reasoned response, it tells me a lot about the owner. So that's something I like doing. But finally, go on the home inspector's website. Once you think you know who your home inspector is going to be, go on their website and take a look at a sample home inspection report. That's probably the most important part of deciding on a home inspector, is to look at their sample reports. Read it. Does it make sense? Do you know what they're talking about? Is it written in plain English? Is there a lot of photos and illustrations to help make clear what they're talking about? Or is it chock full of recommendations for further inspections? Now, if you read a home inspection report, they've got a dozen recommendations for further evaluation by a licensed fill in the blank. Then I guess my question would be, what are you paying the home inspector for? Isn't that what they're supposed to be doing? Evaluate this stuff? Recommendations for further inspections should be done sparingly. So that's my advice on how to find a good home inspector. And I think that wraps it up. That was the last topic I had to cover here for this little miniature home inspections crash course for new home buyers. Thank you so much for watching.
Please excuse our technical difficulties. Unfortunately, I didn't know that you all weren't able to see the video. So definitely what we will do, so to make sure that you get that information, is send that link with your with an email once this event is over. Also with the presentations as well, so you can review that yourself at your leisure. Now we will have the rest of the questions and answers. So do we have any questions that we need answered?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Ms. Smith.
Yes.
Okay, I have a question concerning, I'm still stuck on the amount. So you guys are telling me we can still go into these programs. Let's just say hypothetically, I make 300,000 and my fiance makes the same. That's $600,000. Should anybody at a certain point just sit there and be like, "Hey, we're not gonna get approved because of how much we make"? So the question is, so it doesn't matter how much we make to get approved.
Okay. Is that a question that Mr. Nolan can answer, or Ms. Vasquez?
Yeah, no, there is not a set amount that you can make in order to be able to qualify for a loan. It depends, like I said, not only, obviously, we're not gonna only look at your income, but we are also gonna run your credit.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right. But where there is no debt, I don't want to think of the negative right now. Whether there is no debt and they have good credit. But what if they, you know what, forget the good credit. What if they have bad credit, but they have cash? They one of those people.
Well, if they do have, for instance, if they don't have good credit, when you said not good credit, what is not good credit for you?
But to me, my no good credit is like a 300, a 300, 400 credit score. That's not good credit.
Okay, well, that's low. Yeah. And if you do have, for instance, you make all that money, but you don't have good credit, then we're going to have a problem with that.
What would be the
because
problem?
We can, so for instance, and that's exactly what I was saying before, you know, a lot of people, it is a lot of misinformation out there, and people, they do think, for instance, I don't know if they're scared to find out if they qualify or not. It doesn't do anything. Just they're going to run your credit. They're going to check your income and liabilities. And if you're ready, they're going to tell you, they're going to give you the pre-approval, and you can go from there. But if not, if you're not ready, the lender can also can tell you what is affecting your credit or why you're not ready to buy just yet. But it is important to start somewhere.
Okay, so let's just say hypothetically, you said earlier today, I think someone said the lowest credit score they would take is a 600, correct?
With us.
With
There's
you.
some other lenders, they do allow 580. However, like I said, if it's most likely, And I'm sure it's gonna be an FHA loan because conventional, there's no way that's gonna run. Conventional minimum, I will say sometimes, most of the time, it's gonna be 640 FICO score for a conventional loan.
Okay.
And it will also increase. So if it's lower than 600, most likely it's gonna be like 10% down payment.
Okay.
Okay.
Good
So,
answer.
Do we have any other
yes, Vanessa, I am accepting new clients.
She is accepting new clients for those of you that are ready. Do we have any other questions?
Even if they're not, it is important for them to find out what is stopping you for applying for a home mortgage? Really, that's the question, because in order for
It
you,
was because of how much I make. I was like, these programs must be for, low income people who makes low income, right? I make more than a half a year.
if you
more
make,
than a half a million.
even if, and then you should be happy.
Why?
Because you should be happy because you're making good money.
Good. Yeah, that's fine. But I want to make sure that I'm the type, I'm very hands-on. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And when someone brings up programs that people say that you could possibly get approved to get these type of loans, right? I like to make sure.
Yeah,
I want to know the programs. I need to know every little bit of things so that I can be ready and not waste my time thinking that I'm going
exactly
to get.
why you need to find out which program will fit you.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, because
that's
otherwise you're not gonna find out.
The realtor will pretty much assess you and guide you to make sure you fit a program. That's why you need a realtor on your side as well to lead you to the right lender, like Ms. Vasquez.
Oh, y'all very close with y'all lenders?
Yeah, I haven't worked with Ms. Vasquez personally yet, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna connect for this. But I have maybe 5 lenders that I do work with closely, to where I know their programs. They teach me everything I know, to where I can teach you guys what you need to know.
That's what I want to hear.
Yeah.
Someone who has built relationships with people,
And that's what
it doesn't be hard on either one of us.
I'm gonna guide you to the inspector. I'm gonna guide you to the lender. I'm gonna even after
I'm
the
more
fact.
concerned about the lender.
I know that's the first step.
That's really where it's gonna buckle down to come to.
That's the first step.
Right. I'm not worrying about the contractor and inspector. I mean, I have that part down. I just like to know these things because as I'm building this knowledge from you and from whoever else I come across I want to pass it down to my friends, my family.
Exactly.
Let them know that, hey, I'm gonna come to, what's your name?
Earl.
I'm about to introduce you to Earl. Hey, I'm gonna introduce you to Miss Smith or Miss Vasquez. I wanna build relationships just based off of, hey, I got people here that really are looking for a house.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I want to be able for them to trust what I say when I speak up on y'all.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's my main thing.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much. That was awesome. Ms. Vasquez,
thank you.
Nolan, thank you so much. But don't leave just yet. We have one more speaker to talk about a project that is just beginning. We have our nonprofit liaison, Ms. Ellery, here to speak about a project in the near north side. So I want you to listen up. You never know. We have some realtors on here, and even those individuals that are in the financial institution, just to listen to this information. If you can't use it, I'm sure you know someone that can. So if you just hold on just a second, this is Miss Ellery. I will put up the presentation for you. sound.
Well, good evening, everybody. I hope you've had an informative hour, and it sounds like a lively discussion, which I hope can continue. I'm Ellery Maku. I'm the nonprofit liaison with the communications team at the Housing and Community Development Department. Thank you so much, Latasha, Onika, everybody, for inviting me this evening to talk about the Near North Side. It's called New Homes for the Near North Side. And Latasha, can you please go to the next? And what we're specifically focusing on is the piece of the city that is just north of the inner loop, like the where I-45 and I-10 come together, by where Hardy Yards is and Avenue Center, in that area. So we're working with the Houston Land Bank. We're partnering with them to provide single family homes and community space at what we're calling the north site and the south site. And throughout this week until June 25th, which is Friday, throughout the month rather, we've been seeking input on what the community's vision is for these sites. They've been discussed and proposed. There's been a lot of proposals over the last several years, we understand. So we want to build single family homes for homeownership opportunities, partnering with other entities to make them affordable. So what will look good? What can we tell the developers? We haven't selected developers yet, but we're seeking community input so that we can inform the developers through a notice of funding availability as to what would look good, what fits the character of the Near North Side. Next slide. These are the two sites. The north site is currently home to Yellow Cab. So if you know the Yellow Cab sites, that's where that is. And number two, the south site is Hardy Yards. It's adjacent to the Burnett Transit Center. So they are not linked together, but we are considering them as one development because it's through the Housing and Community Development Department, and we are going to bid the projects out at the same time. So it will be single family homes, whether that's detached or duplexes or townhomes is to be determined depending on the density that the developer decides, and along with the community's input. Next slide, please. We've been doing a ton of outreach, but we heard that a lot of folks still might not fully understand or have insight into what we're trying to do. We had a really compressed time frame to do public engagement to gather input from the community, but we have been putting signs and banners around. We have flyers that describe how you can provide input if you want, and I'm sure we can get those out to anyone who's interested after. The one brochure in the upper right corner that you see is a trifold, and that shows you how to log into the social pinpoint site. So that's a site that we're using to gather input online. You can comment or leave a picture or leave an idea or write a memo. Next slide, please. So throughout June, we have been talking to residents. We had 2 community meetings, and we've been open and available, and the outreach team has been out handing out flyers at different events as well. So we really have been trying to get the word out. We haven't hosted meetings, but we have been at outreach events to pass out information. And then there's that social pinpoint site I mentioned. You can access it through the website, which is bit.ly/near-northside homes. And that will have the link until Friday. We'll have the link available for the social pinpoint site. Next slide. There's the link, nice and clear and big for you. Next slide. And I think that is my presentation. Are there any questions about what we're trying to do or what this all is about? I'd be happy to take questions. All right, well, if you know anyone in the near north side.
I got a question.
Yeah,
Are you guys building homes, you're saying, or no?
we're building single family homes, yes.
And
So if
we
there is,
know-
I'm sorry, Eric. I didn't mean to interrupt.
You're fine, go ahead.
Yeah, what is the price range? Do you know?
Yeah, that's
We
what I'm
don't
saying.
have a price yet because it depends on the density that they're building, but we will be able to offer subsidies both through the Houston Community Land Trust, the Land Bank, and then our home ownership program.
Definitely. Okay. I want to connect with you on that one.
Okay.
Those, if you request, can we request those flyers or those brochures that you have mentioned before?
Sure.
Where do we?
Latasha, how is best? Do you want to send them out or should I put my contact information in the chat?
You can put your contact information as well as I can send, I'm sorry, I can't see who's speaking, but is that Ms. Vasquez?
This is she, yes.
Okay, I can definitely send you some of those flyers or I can bring them to you.
Awesome. All right then.
All right.
Thank you very much.
I also want to mention one of the niche products that we have here on my side on Independent Financial, which I know there's a lot of people out there, they don't know. We have the ITIN loan program, and we do have it with 15% down. I know there's some other lenders, they do have this program, but they do have it with 25% or more. And you have, if they don't have no credit, it's okay. We can still do the loan with 15% down. So that's our niche product. And this is for people, they don't have a social, but they do have the tax ID number.
All right. Thank you for that.
I just wanted to thank everyone again for your time and attention. And please feel free to reach out if you have any questions or need any materials from us. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Our next upcoming outreach event is going to be our virtual Lunch and Learn, July the 16th, 2021, from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. And the topic will be COVID, what are the myths? Then we'll have the 360 Road to Ownership series. Session 3, July the 22nd, 2021, from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. The topic will be road rules, what to expect. Thank you.
All right. So once again, I must say thank you so much for attending our event today. I know we had a few technical difficulties. However, I hope that that was not your focus. I hope you got something from the speakers that we have had on tonight. But I want to make sure that you understand it is very important for you to connect with business professionals that have your interests in mind, that is goal related, that know your heart and that will help you accomplish the goal of home ownership. Once again, I thank you for attending this. We will, like she stated, our upcoming events, part 3, which is rules. So please, if you have not went to our website, please go to our website to see what other events that we are having. And once again, I say, have a blessed night and thank you again for attending.
Okay, Ms. Mix, before we hang up, how would you get the recording of the session?
Okay, so for those individuals that didn't hear me, and I'm gonna put it in the chat, what we will do, we will send out an email. If you register for this particular event, what we will do is everyone register, we will send you an email and it will have that recording as well as the PowerPoint. So you can have that for reference.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.